microbiome is the trillions of bugs, bacteria, viruses, fungi, and now we're even learning about protozoa. We've got trillions of organisms living in there and they need to eat. People who are constipated don't always do well with probiotic supplements. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Good Gut Feeling podcast where we digest modern medicine with old world wisdom. Today we're going to talk about something everyone's talking about. It is all over the place, all over the research, and people are really interested in the gut microbiome. And more importantly, how do we rebuild it? How do we build it and how do we optimize it? Remember, this episode and all our previous episodes are for educational purposes only and they don't take the place of medical advice from your doctor. Jumping right in. What is the microbiome? The microbiome is the trillions of bugs, bacteria, viruses, fungi, and now we're even learning about protozoa that live inside our gut, predominantly our large intestine. But they don't just live there. They are active participants in our health. Our immune system, a big part of our immune system is located in the gut. Our neurotransmitters are produced in the gut. Our hormones are produced in the gut. And these bacteria actually play a huge role in this. So having a good, healthy, robust, diverse microbiome is highly beneficial to all aspects of our health. So we've heard this before. Many people are testing their microbiome. Many people are concerned about their microbiome. So what do? How do we make our microbiome robust? How do we rebuild it? Let's say you've been on antibiotics. Let's say you've done all the wrong things and now your microbiome took a toll. And how do you rebuild it? Well, it's all possible. The microbiome changes all the time. So we have so many opportunities to rebuild, regrow, optimize, and make it very robust and healthy. Number one is our nutrition, because think about it, we've got trillions of organisms living in there and they need to eat. So just as we need to eat healthy food, they need to eat healthy food, and they're our friends. So what do our friends in there like to eat? They like to eat fiber. You guessed it, they love fiber. And fiber is found in mostly plant-based foods. So they love the soluble fiber, they love to eat that, but most plant foods have both soluble and insoluble. So how do you build it? You eat a lot of plant-based foods. It's not that hard. It's not that complex. Just eat plant-based food and eat it in a diversity. So you don't eat just one all the time because you got lots of bugs there. They like all different kinds of things. So eat a diversity, whether it's seeds or whole grains or vegetables or fruit. Try to eat like at least 30 different kinds. Can you do that? Can you eat 30 different kinds of plant-based foods in a week? But think about it. It could be anything from spices like cilantro, dill, parsley. It could be seeds like pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds. It could be nuts, almonds, walnuts. Could be whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, millet. You really have so many options. So can you get like 30? And can you get all different colors? So look at it like the rainbow. You want a rainbow in your gut. So eat the red peppers and the cucumbers and the green lettuce and the yellow squash and just mix it all up. The red beets and the blueberries, and you get like such a beautiful rainbow of colors in your gut. So feed your microbiome to keep it healthy. Number two, fermented foods and probiotics. So those are a direct contribution of good bacteria to your gut. They're a gift, just dropped in your gut, but don't think that they do everything. They are really a drop in the bucket compared to what's really in your microbiome. So they help, they definitely help, but they do not take the place of all the other things. And should you eat a fermented food or should you take a probiotic? Now that depends on the person. I have found that people who are constipated don't always do well with probiotic supplements. Sometimes they make people more constipated. If someone has diarrhea, they usually do well with a probiotic, or if they have normal bowel movements, they can do well with a probiotic. If people are constipated, I personally usually stay away from that for my patients. There are exceptions, and some people do well even though they have hard stools, depending on the probiotics, depending on the person. What do you look for in a probiotic? Truthfully, it's not easy, because independent studies, like outside people with no biases, came and did a study on what's really in the probiotics. So you get these jars that say 50 billion, 100 billion. How do you really know? Well, someone looked at that and they found that they found a lot of discrepancies. So not all probiotics are really reliable. So get good brands. Get good professional brands if you can. Get good reliable brands. I believe there's nothing better than food. And food is medicine, and supplements are supplementary. So if you can get your probiotics from food, you get a complex of not just the probiotic, but you get all those wonderful features of that particular food. First of all, let's take sauerkraut. Well, you get cabbage, and then you get all that fiber, that prebiotic fiber that helps build the microbiome, and you get the probiotic. You get a whole food. My favorite is fermented beets. Fermented beets are amazing because, one, they have this beautiful color that has a lot of antioxidants in it. Number two, they help move things along really well. And number three, you can ferment them and get the probiotics. And they're super easy. You just throw them in a jar, add some beets, add some good water, whether it's filtered or good bottled water, and salt, and cover the jar. Leave it on your counter for a week, put it in the fridge. You've got fermented beets and they taste yummy. And the liquid is drinkable. So you get that reddish liquid. It tastes like pickle juice if you like that. It's not pickled, it's fermented, it's different. So when you drink that, you actually get that same probiotic effect. Can make your stools pinkish, fuchsia red, so don't be scared. If you want the recipe, find us on wholegut.com and send us a message. We will send you the Good Gut Feeling ebook with all these great recipes, included fermented beets. Number 3, reduce processed, ultra processed foods with additives and coloring and all sorts of artificial stuff. Do not eat non-food. Do not eat chemicals. Do not eat ultra processed food. Do not eat food byproducts. Eat food. You eat an apple, you know it's an apple. You eat a chicken, you know it's a chicken. Some foods, if it's not labeled, you would have no idea what it is, because it's so highly processed, it's not a food anymore. Those foods hurt the microbiome. They hurt many parts of your health. Stay away from those foods. Ideally, get foods how they exist in nature. Get foods as close as they are from Mother Earth, from wherever they came from, but not a factory. Stay away from those foods. Those foods include artificial sweeteners. Those are not your friend. I know people think, okay, it's better than sugar. I don't think they're better than sugar. Sugar has its own issues, but there are natural forms of sugar that are better than artificial forms of sugar. For example, a little bit of maple syrup, raw honey, fruit, date sugar. Those are way better than artificial sugar. So coconut sugar is another one. So stay away from, ideally, cane sugar as well, but definitely artificial sugars. Number 4, and this is my favorite because it really creates health from the inside out. Take care of your stress and practice mindfulness. Your thoughts can change your microbiome in hours. It's not just the food and stuff you put in. Your thoughts can affect your microbiome. So stress affects the microbiome. Living in peace, getting plenty of sleep, that affects your microbiome in a positive way. So, hey, telling someone don't be stressed these days, that's like impossible. Everyone has some level of stress. Everyone has lots of challenges. The world is more complex than it's ever been. But we can handle it. We can manage it. We can take care of ourselves. Just don't be reactive. Be proactive. Take care of yourself in the beginning of the day, whether you feel good or not. Have a morning routine, whether you feel good or not, and then you'll have more days that you feel good. Don't wait until you feel bad and then start. You're behind the 8 ball. Then you're like catching up. Don't do that. Start before. Have a morning routine. Okay, if it's too late, you're already stressed, you're already anxious. Okay, so just get started and practice, and you will get there. It takes time, but you will build a healthy habit that will build your microbiome from the inside out. What should you do? So many beautiful things exist in this world to help us. Number one is meditation, breath work, journaling, being in nature, exercise, all amazing things to really deal with our stress, with our mind-body connection. Make sure you get plenty of sleep, good sleep, high quality sleep, early sleep. You don't want to go to bed at 1 a.m. and sleep till 8 and get your 7 hours, or sleep till 9 and get your 8 hours. No, you want to go to bed on the earlier side. The earlier is better sleep. So sleep earlier, sleep enough, and have high quality sleep. How do you have high quality sleep? A good bedtime routine. Avoid screens, avoid stressful conversations, avoid anything that stimulates it, or exercise. All those things are not great things to do a couple hours before sleep. The couple hours before sleep is the winding down time. It's the time to read a book, learn something new that is not highly stimulating, talk to your family, take a walk outside. It's the time to wind down. Your sleep is going to be higher quality. It's not just the absolute hours, because if you have shallow, non-regenerative sleep and you sleep 10 hours, it's not going to do as much for you as even having a shorter hours with good, high quality sleep. Number 5 is be conservative with antibiotics and medications that can hurt your microbiome. Antibiotics are highly overprescribed. They are necessary in some cases. They are lifesavers in some cases, but they're overprescribed, and many times they do not benefit the person. Someone just takes them just in case. So always ask your doctor, do I really need this? What happens if I don't take it? What happens if it's not a bacterial infection? Is it actually indicated? So sometimes we're prescribed antibiotics and it's a viral infection. Well, they do zero for that. Nothing. Sometimes we're prescribed and it's a bacterial infection. Okay, so they do help, but the question is what happens if I don't take it? So let's say they help a little bit. They decrease the time of our infection for a short period. Is it really worth it? Because it does take a toll on the microbiome. Antibiotics are potent inhibitors of the microbiome. Another class of drugs that's also really highly prescribed, overprescribed, used vastly, and can affect your microbiome are proton pump inhibitors. Those acid-lowering drugs that you see commercials for, the purple pill, you know, the pantoprazole, the omeprazole, the esomeprazole, sometimes called Prilosec. They can affect your microbiome. So sometimes they're needed in the hospital. They're very effective for GI bleeds. They can be used short-term for certain conditions. But many times people are put on them and they don't need to be on them, and they don't need to be on them for a long time. From my experience in the hospital, we used to have them standard in the orders, the admitting orders. So every patient came in, you just need to check off because it was protective for the stomach, even though it's really only protective for the stomach in certain cases in specific situations, but everyone got one. And then when they left, when they were discharged, often they were discharged by a resident who wasn't the one admitting them. And what is standard is kind of like take all the meds that they were in the hospital and discharge them with the same medication list and give them prescriptions. So people got prescriptions for them and they really only needed them in the hospital. And I would see them in the clinic and ask them why they're taking it, and they wouldn't know. This is very, very common. So make sure you are taking it. If you're taking these drugs, make sure you're taking them for a good reason, for the right amount of time. Check with your doctors. Don't just keep getting refills. These drugs can affect your microbiome. And last but not least, very important, our personal relationships. Our personal relationships build our microbiome and affect our microbiome. It is good for us to be social. Every person we encounter affects our microbiome. By the way, that also applies to animals. Animals build our microbiome. We can exchange a microbiome with people. So socialize with people you like, socialize with people you want to be like, socialize with people who have qualities that you admire, and socialize with people who you want to help, because when we interact, we share our microbiome and it helps build our microbiome. We have diversity. So human interactions are extremely important. So we want to be social. We are actually social beings. Social distancing, social isolation, all those things that happened are very harmful for human psychology, for the microbiome, for our health. So we need people. We need to be around people. We cannot live in this world alone. It helps build our microbiome. It helps us live healthy and happy lives. Thank you for listening. Stay healthy, stay gutsy. If you like this, please find us on wholegut.com, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.